Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to a fresh new episode of Knock Off the Perch, a Manchester United podcast. With the international break sucking the life out of us, we thought it'll be a good time to talk about everything Manchester Derby. We face our noisy neighbors in about a week's time now. 14th September, we are going to Etihad to play against City. The context of this game has reversed a bit. We are also in a new transition phase, and City also look nervy this time. How have you been, Aruj? What are your expectations out of this game?
Doing very well, doing very well. And with regard to this game and how the English media has been treating Manchester United and Ruben Amorim for the last few weeks, the question I want to ask is if Manchester United were to beat Manchester City at Etihad, is Pep Guardiola's job in danger? Is he going to walk away from that job sitting 3 points from 4 games? So I think this is a brilliant opportunity for Manchester United, and Ruben Amorim has had a number on Pep Guardiola in the past. He beat Guardiola in the Champions League with Sporting last year. He beat them at Manchester City's home 2-1 last year and then drew 0-0 at home. So he's undefeated against Pep Guardiola at least last year. So that's a great chance. Win over Manchester City, get a 4 point lead over them, put as much pressure on them as possible. So yeah, looking forward to that game. Looking forward to that game very much.
Brilliant. So, what we'll do this time in this episode is we talk about a few of our Manchester City versus United, the derby matches, the ones that we remember like very clearly.
Yeah,
What's your favorite one? Which one comes to mind when you think Manchester Derby? All of them are very heated matches. Which
yeah.
Manchester Derby really rings high in your memories?
I think the first one that comes to my mind has to be Robin van Persie when he joined Manchester United. That season, we really got it going. Robin van Persie was on top of the game, and I think it was the extra time free kick which deflected off Nasri, and we won the game 3-2. I think it was a Robin van Persie hat trick. He was pretty much part of my FPL team, as I remember. He was the captain of my FPL team. So
I don't think it was a Van Persie hat trick though. I think it was a Rooney brace and then a Van Persie winner.
maybe it was that. Maybe I was happy
Yeah,
that he
yeah,
has gotten a return as well. So I think it was early days of the season, if I
yeah, yeah.
remember correctly. He had just had a hat trick against Southampton, I think
Yeah,
first game,
that is correct.
and then he went ahead and gave this performance against Manchester City. So yeah, I think that is one of my most favorite memories. That Robin van Persie deflected free kick of Samir Nasri. What about you? What is your biggest memory of Manchester City versus United?
I have a few. Once recently, obviously, because of the recency bias, hold a big place. Ole's year recently was brilliant because Ole kept beating City. Ole had
Yeah,
such a good hold over Pep Guardiola. It was so brilliant to watch. I remember this one particular game. I think it was Bruno's first Manchester derby, and he chipped the ball over the City wall to Martial, caught
yeah,
everyone off guard,
yeah,
even United players off guard. But Martial knew that was such a good aha moment, and
yeah.
Martial scored the first goal. City kept knocking back. They couldn't score any goal till the 90th minute when Ederson actually mishandled the ball and McTominay came and made a 30-yard goal and Old
Yes,
Trafford erupted.
I remember
That
that. I
is
remember that
big
now.
in my
Yeah.
mind right now. So that was a great match. Since we haven't been winning the league since the last 9-10 years, these memories of Manchester derbies or matches against Liverpool, they hold bigger in our heads right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, this
Yeah.
was one big one which I loved.
I think the fact that you called it 9-10 years, it has been 12 years now
Yeah.
since we haven't won a title. And the year before we won our last title, I think that derby also sits very starkly in my memory. United were 8 points clear of City. I think City had a game in hand, and Derby they won through a thundering Vincent Company header. They won that 1-0,
Yeah.
reduced the lead to 5 points, and then United capitulated. I think they lost another game, they drew another game, and going into the final day, we were behind Manchester City on goal difference, and it was all in Manchester City's hands. And then the game against QPR happened. Extra time, two goals, 93rd minute, 20th second Aguero goal. Just can't get over it.
It's a dagger to the heart. That
Yeah,
season, I don't think any United fan can forget. But like on to more positive ones, I believe Rooney has had like a lot of good goals and a lot of good matches against City. We remember his overhead bicycle kick. It's like it's denoted as like one of the best goals ever scored in the
yeah.
Premier League history. So that was, remember the game being so spectacular, but the goal in itself was so good.
Yeah. And I think few years back, the year Ronaldo had left us, the game where Michael Owen finally
Ooh.
came on and won in the 90 plus sixth minute. I think that was a brilliant game as well. We took the lead thrice. I think it was Rooney and then Fletcher scoring
Yeah.
twice. For them, it was Bellamy who equalized a couple of times. But it was Michael Owen in the 90th plus sixth minute winning that game for us. He came in as a short-term replacement, and I think although a lot of United fans don't have a lot of respect for Michael Owen, but I think just that moment he did enough to be a part of
Oh
Manchester
yeah,
United folklore.
totally.
Yeah. In fact, this also got us going into a little bit of a rabbit hole about, the overall history of Manchester derbies. And it was just an interesting anecdote to read about, how the derbies started. And for the longest, the derbies weren't really big on the rivalry. People did not focus on City versus United being a big match. I think it also had got to do with the difference between United and City in the stature of the club, in how much the clubs were winning, etc. But it was interesting for me at least to read that the first derby, if we were to go back to the history of both the clubs, was back in 1881,
Yeah.
where Manchester City back then was known as St. Mark's, which went on to become Manchester City eventually. United was obviously at that point in time known as Newton Heath, and United went on to win that game 3-0. So yeah, that's a little bit of a nice anecdote to know that the first known derby we won 3-0.
Till date, I think we still are like 21 games, 21 wins above City. I think we have
Yeah,
won 81 and City has won 60 with, I think,
yeah,
30 or 40 draws there.
yeah.
So we still have quite a, stronghold of City when it comes to records.
Absolutely, absolutely. And historically, just both these clubs have had a little bit of a similar destiny. Both of them were on the verge of bankruptcy at slightly different points in time. They were brought over by local businessmen who revived the club a little bit. Eventually, Manchester City went on to play at Main Road
Yeah.
before they moved into their current stadium. And this is where an interesting piece of trivia from the history also comes in. Manchester United Stadium, I think we spoke about it in the history of Old Trafford Stadium as well. Old Trafford was destroyed significantly during the Second World War. A lot of bombings took place on the Old Trafford Stadium, and which is where Manchester City and Manchester United went into a little bit of an agreement that United will be playing their home games at Main Road, and it was financially beneficial for both clubs. United had a ground to play on. City would get a commission 10% of the ticket sales plus some rent fee. And interestingly, United also allowed City to play some of their reserve games in our training pitch. So I think there was some agreement that there was done. And City used to be in Division 2. They qualified for Division 1 in 47. And between 47 and 49, before United went back to Old Trafford, we had four derbies and all four of them ended in a draw. It's like there was an agreement. All right, we are playing in your stadium, we'll not beat you. Three of them ended nil nil, one of them ended 1-1. So it was a interesting times. Clubs were supporting each other, and till then the rivalry was not so strong. I think anecdotes of past historians, they talk about, Manchester football crowd would go to watch City games one weekend, United games the other weekend. It was only when, for a brief period, City became prominent in 60s, is when the rivalry really picked up, and it is as big as it is now.
Oh yeah, now it divides families, and we see music enthusiasts also supporting one club or the other. Oasis
Correct.
recently has come out as big fans of City, with Liam and Noel Gallagher being big fans of City. I actually heard a colleague of mine telling me a story about how one of his friends from the States, he actually went to a Oasis concert wearing a United shirt and was like Noel Gallagher himself, like abused him a lot, and like he almost thought that he'd be kicked out of the concert, but that didn't happen. But even while singing, Liam, I believe, kept on pointing towards him and saying not so parliamentary words even during the concert. So that was a brilliant lore that goes on with the music scene of the Manchester as well. And yeah.
There was also this, given that you're talking about celebrities, I think there was this interesting piece of news that came out, I think, a couple of years back when Julia Roberts came out and talked about Manchester United being her preferred Manchester club and stuff like that. I think Guardiola had some comments to make. So, yeah, I think it's pretty evident that now Manchester clubs divide not just fans but celebrities as well. Talking a little bit about that divide, there used to be this famous Manchester United player, part of the Holy Trinity, Dennis Law, who obviously is a Manchester United legend. He won the Ballon d'Or for Manchester United. He has done great things for Manchester United, but he went on to join Manchester City. And in 1974, he played a back kick in the 81st minute of one of the Manchester derbies, which went in. He did not celebrate after that goal. And the legend says that that back kick was the one that relegated Manchester United that season, the last time Manchester United got relegated from the first division. But that is actually not the case. Going into the game, United needed a win to have a chance to stay in the league, but it was dependent on other results. And I think Norwich in one of their games won their game. So irrespective of the result in this game, United still would have been relegated. But I think it's known that a Manchester United legend in Dennis Law almost relegated Manchester United. So that's again a incident from the past that is well spoken of.
Yeah, and another Manchester legend actually played his whole career, like a good part of his whole career in City, but ended up managing United. This is none other than but Matt Busby. He actually won City a FA Cup in '34, I believe, and then came
Wow.
on to manage United later. So yeah, I mean
A
that is.
lot of interesting pieces of trivia, a lot of history between the clubs. But let's talk about the game on 14th September. I think this is where we are with the game against Burnley. A little bit of pressure is released on Manchester United, on Ruben Amorim. What do you see Manchester United's chances are going into this game? How do you think broadly the game will play out?
Yeah, I think this game is as uncertain as they come. Yes, the manager has a bit of a respite because of the Burnley win, but fans, after seeing the Arsenal loss, after we played a better game than Arsenal, would be expecting nothing short of 3 points from this game,
Yeah.
especially when City is showing some vulnerabilities back in the defense. We saw City's games this weekend, and we believe there's a good chance that United's high press can expose City's building from the back. I think that's a big one that will be crucial. Of course, there are a lot of changes in both City squad and Manchester United squad because City invested quite heavily in the last winter transfer window and this
Yeah.
transfer window as well. The whole and a lot of key players who used to play part in City's derbies, the likes of Ederson and Kevin De Bruyne, have departed, and we'll see a lot of new faces. We see Donnarumma, we'll see Reinders for the first time playing a City derby. Turkey had a few words for United, but sadly
Yeah.
he's injured. I would have loved to see him
Yeah.
play that game and win above him because because of the history there. Obviously, our number tens, Kune and Bumo. This I don't think anything can give you a good taste of the life at Manchester United, but a Manchester derby. So this is the time when you see what metal are they made of. So yeah, very excited about this game, and I think we have a good chance of winning this one if we keep our wits about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what I was thinking was let's start talking about, how broadly United could play, how they could line up in this one. And given that goalkeeping has been a significant issue in the first 3, 4 games that we have played, Alte Binder hasn't looked the best in the three Premier League games that he has played. Onana looked really shabby in the game against Grimsby Town. So, and on transfer deadline day, we have signed Lemons now. plus Heaton is our backup goalkeeper. So we have four first team goalkeepers in the squad now. Given the recent signing, given the recent form of the players, do you think this is the right match to give Lemons his debut against City in a derby at Etihad?
I believe Amorim will go for stability rather than a new face right now. City press a lot, and I don't think the trial by fire is a good way to start a new kid on the block. He's just 21, 22 years old, hasn't had a taste of English football yet. I'm sure Amorim will consider him, considering the form of our current goalkeeping department. But in my opinion, this match would be a bit too early and a bit too extreme way to enter into English football for Lemons.
But think of the alternate scenario where Lemon starts this game, he
Mm.
does really well, and then there is no taking him away from the spot in the first 11, right? Because if he's is able to do well, he is able to establish himself in a game against City. Imagine the amount of confidence that he will gain out of this. So I don't know. I agree that given the way Amorim prepares for games and given precedence of how he gets in the new signings, how he takes time to get new signings, sort of gives them time to gel up with the team. Given we have seen how Sesko hasn't started a Premier League game yet, I don't think Lemons will start, but I don't see it as something which is outside of the realm of possibility.
Yeah,
I feel that that can happen, especially given Binder and Runner's form.
I just got flashbacks of Martial actually. The Martial starting his like making his debut against
Liverpool.
Liverpool, and we were still leading for one
Yeah,
goal, but
yeah,
Liverpool were on top of us, and Martial
correct.
just came and lifted Old Trafford up. Of course, this game is an away game at Etihad.
Yeah.
But that being said, yeah, it'll be an interesting game if Lemons were to start this one. And don't believe our defense will see too many changes. Delit has been strong this game. Euro has been exceptional. I think the left side center back position is up for grabs, though. We know for a fact Naus is fit now, and Lisandro Martinez is also back.
He's inching back towards fitness. He
Yeah,
started
yeah.
work on the grass. So I think that's an interesting one because Mazarawi, in
Mm,
the 10 odd minutes he was on the pitch against Burnley, he looked very, very good. The way he was progressing the ball forward, the way he was creating those little triangles with Mbuemo and Ahmad, I think that was very good. And you could see if we have to build pressure in the game, Mazarawi's presence really adds a lot. And he's a versatile player. He
yeah.
can play that right wing back spot also. He can play that right 10 spot also. Sorry, right center back spot also. Even left center back spot at times he has played. So I think that is going to be an interesting one if Amorim wants to continue with
Mm,
a left footed player at that left center back, or he wants to move one of
yeah.
Euro or Mazarawi to let Mazarawi, Delict, and Euro be the back three.
Mm,
So that will be interesting. But I think we have discussed this a couple of times in the past that one Mazarawi is fit, he has to be on the pitch. He
okay,
has
yeah.
to be part of the 11. So whether it is on the right wing back spot or the right center back spot or the left center back spot, Mazarawi has to play this game.
Similarly, for wing backs, if we talk, I don't think anyone has given Dorgu that kind of competition. I believe Dorgu will be starting this one.
I am actually not sure. I am not sure what happened at halftime in that Grimsby Town
Mm,
during that Grimsby Town game. He was taken off at halftime.
mm,
And then Dallo started the game against Burnley as well
yeah,
at left wing back, and he did fairly okay in that game, I think. So if Dallo is fit, we have heard news that he has come back from the Portugal camp with a
mm,
minor muscle strain. So we don't know about his fitness, but if he is fit, I think he's going to give competition to Dorgu for that left wing back spot. So I think both
I
the wing back spots are up for grabs at this point in time.
oh yeah, I mean between Dorgu, Dalo, and Naus, I think it'll be the two of them, two out of these three.
Or Ahmad. Ahmad could also. Maybe it's a game similar to Arsenal one where you expect them to attack a little more. So
Mm,
he might want his defense to hold up
yeah.
and not play Ahmad in that
But
as a
Ahmad has
starting
such
player.
a good history against City. It'll be so good to see Ahmad be so direct.
Yeah.
But then again, where do you see the biggest game, this game turning? Midfield, Casemiro and Bruno seems to be the set combination that Amorim is trusting this season.
Yeah, but injuries might have dealt Amorim a little bit of a difficult hand with
Mm,
Mount and Cunha both getting injured in the game against Burnley. We still don't know
mm,
how their fitness levels and if either one of them will be able to be back. If not, you could see Bruno starting in the number 10 spot along with Mbuemo
mm.
and Menu and Casemiro partnering in the pivot. So that is possible as well. But
And we are
go on.
backing Sheshko to start this one.
If Cunha is unfit, then I think that Sheshko will start this one. If we have the same number of players who were fit for the previous game, I think Sheshko will only come in from the bench. He will only come in as a substitute.
Talking about the midfield, I think this is a game made for Ugarte too, actually. We might not do too bad having the double pivot of Kase and Ugarte in this game. Go a bit defensive on the midfield front. Because City's strength is to build overloads in the
Yeah,
midfield, and they do build from the back a lot. So we would need runners who can break those triangles and get the ball moving forward.
I agree. I think a lot of game state will also determine, but starting the game will Casemiro and Ugarte might just come out to be a little defensive, is what my thought process is. Plus, you lose that ball carrying ability
Mm,
because Casemiro can't run up and down the pitch a lot, and Ugarte's ball carrying capabilities are slightly suspect. So I think that is where United might suffer. Now, the big thing that we might need to look at is how to involve Mbuemo more and more during this game,
mm,
because I'm sure City will try to cut out some of those long passes, ensure the path to Mbuemo
mm,
is defended by their center back slash left back, whoever is marking Mbuemo. And that will be a critical aspect. And Mbuemo has shown the game intelligence to figure his way out. But I think the biggest part is that is going to be whether it is Bruno, whether it is Mbuemo, and if it is Sheshko or Cunha, whoever is starting as the third forward, to be clinical in a game like this.
mm,
You don't get a lot of chances. We created so many shots against Arsenal as well, but we didn't have that one clear cut big chance which we could convert. And
mm,
similarly against Fulham, against Burnley, although we created fair few number of chances, we didn't finish a lot of them as well. I think that is the next elevation that this squad needs to make. This squad needs to start finishing the chances that they are creating. I
mm.
think, and that starts with this game against Manchester City.
And for a change, I can see the City squad being a bit more leaky than usual. They are not so solid at the back. We are still seeing the new combinations coming into play. I noticed the game against Brighton. The first half was fairly level, other than the fact that Haaland seems to be on top of his form.
Yeah, yeah.
Haaland has recently gotten the record of the 88 goals in 100 game Premier League games, and what a goal it was! Like none of the City players seem to be clicking in the game against Brighton. But the first half, if you saw Haaland play that one, Haaland scored with the sixth touch in the game. I think it
Hmm.
was 34th minute or so. His first five touches were five shots, out of which three were on target. I mean, that
Yeah,
is a crazy start. He could not be involved in the game and yet come out so well on top of the opponent team. And the
absolutely.
fact that he has added dribbling and a bit of build up also in his gameplay. He brings Marmoush into play. He brings Reinders into play. He brings Oscar Bob into play now. That just makes Haaland the most scary combination of a attacker, and his role against Dillet and his fight against Dillet is what I'm most worried about for this game, which would be my key battle to watch.
Absolutely. And we have seen City now also modifying their style of play a little bit. I think earlier it was all about, bringing all the midfield and all the attackers
Mm,
into the build-up of the game, take the ball to the box of the opposition, and
mm,
then whichever player is in the best position, they take the shot. So earlier we used to see the likes of goals being distributed across Sane, Sterling, Aguero,
mm.
Bernardo Silva, whoever was playing in the front four. Now I think that style of play is shifted and everybody is just feeding the ball into Erling Haaland. So you're absolutely right. I think how does our back three deal with Erling Haaland? I think that is going to be critical, and Matthias Delict's role is going to be
Got
super important in that.
it.
Super important.
One more,
I think, yeah,
yeah.
go on, go on.
So one more thing I'm worried about is how City are going to build up in this game because they have just gotten Donnarumma,
I was just going to come to that topic itself.
and
Yeah,
these two goalkeepers are entirely opposite goalkeepers. James Trafford is someone who likes to invite the press and throw a pass around. Donnarumma, on the other hand, is not someone who's known for his passing ability. In fact, that is one of the reasons why PSG and Luis Enrique wanted him out of the team. But
exactly.
bringing a keeper who's earning 13 million a year, I don't think he'll be on the bench a lot for City. I do believe he'll
which
be
is what
starting
which
minutes.
is what leaves me a little befuddled because Pep Guardiola doesn't tweak some of the base principles that he works with,
Yeah,
and he wants, as one of the base principles, as we've come to understand over the years, is that the goalkeeper is going to play that outfield player sort of a role where, and Ederson was really good at it, right? Now James Trafford can play that role, but we have seen over the last couple of games he has a mistake in him. He can his shot stopping is probably not the best, and they're probably getting one of the best shot stoppers across the world in Donnarumma right now, but again, his distribution is slightly suspect. So, and Pep Guardiola, we know that over years, that across the summer break, he brings in new tactics which take a couple of games to be established. And maybe this is the play that he has been looking at. He is figuring
yeah,
out that we need to figure out how do we concede less at the back and then maybe nick in a couple of goals through Haaland and grab victories in games. So he's maybe becoming a more traditional in that sense. So I think that will be interesting to see how that plays out because, especially given United's press has gotten better
yeah,
over the last year. I think even under Eric Ten Hag, I think we were starting to press a little better. But obviously, I think the entire camaraderie in the squad wasn't the best, and that led to the results they were. Last couple of games, we have seen that get better, especially when Mount is on the pitch. So that
yeah.
will be very, very interesting to see.
So yeah, I mean, this is one thing I'm very excited to see how United's press and City's building from the back counter each other. James Trafford, I feel, is a top goalkeeper for both playing from the playing with his feet as well as short stopping because the more extended highlights I saw for Brighton game, it could have been a cricket score. It was
Yeah,
Brighton and Tottenham, both the games actually. Trafford kept them in the games at certain points. I do feel bad for him
yeah,
because he would have kept his place and maybe gone for the England setup if he was playing for Burnley, but he's here now and Donnarumma is there. So yeah, I mean
yeah.
we see a Manchester derby with potential two new keepers for both City and United, and let's see if both of them start or not.
Absolutely, absolutely. Moving on to our predictions for the game. What do you think will be the result of this game? Who will be the goal scorers?
I'll go for a 2-0 away victory,
Oh, wow.
considering City are leaky, and we have previously shown that we can get that 2-0 result out there.
Yeah,
We'd be leading 1-0 till 80th minute. City will bombard forward, and we'll score a sneaky counter attack goal via Sheshko's. I hope Sheshko's first goal comes in this game,
yeah.
and I'd like a Ahmad goal in there.
Interesting, interesting. I don't think I am so optimistic going into this game. I think it will be a away draw. We'll just manage to get a result. I think it will be a 1-1 draw. Both teams will try to remain compact. One of the teams will get a goal, and the other one will get a counter-attacking goal back to equalize the game, and that is how it will end. So I am going for a 1-1 draw for Manchester United. I think it will be Mbuemo goal once again. So that is my 1-1 prediction with Mbuemo scoring that one goal. So that is the prediction I'm.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Perfect. All right. This has been a fun one to record. Please drop in comments your predictions about the game, what you think is going to be the outcome of this game. And let's hope when we see you next, we are coming out on the back of a Manchester United victory. Thanks for joining in. And as always, this is our perch. Let's knock him off. Until next time, stay united.